This, he said to him, "Follow me." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Brothers and sisters, good morning. As always, thank you for making Jesus a priority in your day today, for joining us for this Mass. Well, brothers and sisters, we find ourselves now with the disciples on the other side of the resurrection. We find ourselves on the other side of the resurrection. It is a very uncertain place to be. Life on the other side of Easter is not necessarily easy. Right? It's tempting to go back to where you were. It's tempting to go back to who you were. It's tempting to go back to what you were doing. And this is so true for us, but this is also incredibly true for the disciples. Remember, Easter was not the glorious event for them that it was for us, right? Their whole community did not gather in a church. The trumpets did not sound. Easter lilies did not fill their homes. Now, unexpectedly, momentarily, they saw Jesus alive. Now they're wandering on the Sea of Galilee. They're waiting as they have been told. They are on the other side of Easter. Again, it is a very uncertain place to be. It is not an easy place to be. Think about it for a moment, brothers and sisters. Before Easter, the disciples were more concerned with their own status, and quite frankly, they were not very good at discipling. Amen? They were unruly students, right? They rarely understood what Jesus was saying. His parables confused them, right? When he walked on the water, they never recognized him. On occasion, they performed miracles, but they never healed anyone of significance, right? If put honestly, they never really understood what was going on, right? As Mother Angelica puts it, they were a bunch of screwballs, and they certainly were, right? Now on Friday, Jesus died. The disciples scattered. They were told that this was going to happen, but they did not understand. Then Jesus appears alive, and they're apprehensively joyful. They're hesitantly hopeful. And once again, now they're wandering by the Sea of Galilee. There's no more appearances. Jesus is gone. They're on the other side of Easter. Once again, a very uncertain place and not an easy place to be. The disciples are tempted to go back to where they were, back to who they were, back to what they were doing. They were tempted to let things get back to normal. Especially here in this gospel, we see them trying to cozy back up to their comfort zone on the water. So what happens? Peter says, "I'm going fishing." The other disciples join him, right? And then things are back to normal. For years they had fished, making their living, providing for their families. They're doing what they're good at. They fish the whole night. They catch nothing, not one little fish. And then early in the morning, through the gray mist, a man calls out from the shore, "Children, have you caught anything to eat?" The disciples, of course, responded, "No." Brothers and sisters, might I suggest that there may be more to that question than meets the eye. Jesus knew his disciples better than they knew themselves. Perhaps he was asking, "Friends, do you have any fish? Is your work producing any fruit? Are you happy? Is your work giving you joy?" The disciples are doing what they're good at. They had fished all night. They had caught nothing. It's early in the morning. The best time for fishing is almost over. "Friends, do you have any fish? Is your work producing any fruit? Are you happy?" "No," the disciples answered. Brothers and sisters, people of God, after you come alive with Christ, you cannot go back to where you were. Amen? You cannot go back to where you were. You have been changed forever. Now, yes, you can flounder a little bit. The Lord's going to pick you up, but you cannot go back to where you were. You cannot go back to what you were doing. You cannot go back to where you were. Note that when Christ encourages them, commands them really to try at it a different way by moving their efforts to the other side of the boat, their success was astronomical. I think it said they were not able to pull it in because of the number of fish. Brothers and sisters, how in tune are we to the Lord's voice? How in tune are we to what it is that he is asking us to do? He's not asking us to do much, but to keep going. Just don't go backwards. Keep going. Even if it's a step a day, just keep moving forward. Move forward with Christ. Listen to his voice. He is going to show us the way to happiness. His way leads to success and ultimately to salvation. If we keep trying to do things our own way, even if we're really good, we'll get a little bit farther up the road, but we're always going to fall flat on our face. Sometimes we may even take a step backwards, especially back into our comfort zones. But when we do that, brothers and sisters, I promise you, we're at risk of falling back into disappointment, and we may plateau at best. Keep moving forward. The second part of this gospel, Jesus asks him, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? 3 times. Brothers and sisters, he asks us the same question. Do you love me? I hope that we say yes, because his response back to us is, well, you know what? Go feed my sheep. I love you too. Brothers and sisters, he loves us more than we could ever love him, and that gives me hope. But we have to remember that. We can't go back. We have to remember that he loves us. And if we are beloved sons and daughters of the Lord, that means we have access to him all the time. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. I know you've heard me say it before. I'm going to say it again. You have access to him in his throne room. So when you are feeling low, sad, upset, pissed at the world, brothers and sisters, you have recourse to the Lord. Close your eyes and go to that throne room. Sit at his feet, sit on his lap, sit in the seat right next to him, and just be with him. Remember who you are and whose you are. We are a people of the cross, but we are also a people of the resurrection because the Lord loves us. Each time you walk into this church and you look at that crucifix, remember that. Remember that. Remember that. This is the reason for our being, and this is the way to salvation. Amen.